And then if you look at the flip side at Ole Miss, this is a team that we know will press high the entire game and has some dangerous players in the attacking front that can help them do that.
Yeah, that all starts with O'Connor and McGuire. Those will be the triggers all night for this Ole Miss press, which is going to be high and full of energy.
Get a look here at Coach Troy Fabiano for the University of Kentucky Wildcats. Really great talking with him. Obviously coached at University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee last year, looking to right the ship, if you will, for this University of Kentucky team.
Yeah, Troy will be excited here to get into some SEC play and, following the footsteps of a guy like Matt Mott, who has been doing this for, 13, 14 years in the SEC. And
absolutely, Matt Mott really has turned this Ole Miss team into an every year top 25 team that routinely qualifies for the NCAA tournament. That's really, like you said, University of Kentucky wants to follow in their footsteps and move forward with this program. And like we said, a really great start to the season for both of these teams. Here comes Richardson, driving into the box and getting an opportunity. Now cleared away by the Ole Miss defense, but we see there early University of Kentucky pressing high and not afraid to attack that defense.
Yeah, they're going to have to be. We see there just on the kickoff how willing Ole Miss are willing to send 4 or 5 players into an area on the field when they have the ball. Kentucky will need to be able to do the same. And anytime you let those players go forward, you're always leaving gaps behind you. And a player like Richardson, as she's just demonstrated, will be crucial tonight for Kentucky, isolating all those defensive areas.
We talked about that off the air before the game. This Ole Miss team presses so high that Kentucky possession at times, we've seen the Wildcats be able to do that, pass the ball around, and if they're able to kind of break that line of pressure, maybe they make some more opportunities like that.
Yeah, and I go back to Hattori here and how important she's going to be in terms of controlling, but that direction of the Kentucky offense when they're on the ball, recognizing where that space is and using that weak side as much as they can.
Set piece opportunity here early off of the foul. The goalkeeper, Ashley Orcus. Oh, and that one dropped through the hands of Tallulah Miller. And an early goal for someone who doesn't usually score goals. Ashley Orcus with what wasn't a shot, but it'll drop in and she'll take the credit for it anyway.
I think it'll certainly go down. It'll go down as her goal, I'm sure. And we knew she was good with her feet. But just look at the power she hits just inside a Kentucky half. And yeah, Miller will be disappointed with that.
Miller, that one just dropped right over her head into the back of the net, and Ole Miss with an early goal. And if you're Kentucky, that is exactly how you don't want to start, an early goal against a team that likes to press like they do. A really interesting stat. Great pull from our production team as usual. They always have these types of facts ready. The last time these two teams met, Ole Miss scored within the first 86 seconds. So we see history almost exactly repeating itself here with an early goal for the Rebels.
Yeah, it certainly has. And, if nothing else, it'll open up the game for our viewers at home and for us up in the box.
I think you're right on with that. These two teams can both score goals. We know that. Ole Miss generates so many set pieces, corner kicks, throw-ins. Not a surprise to see them get a goal off of one, but I think an extreme surprise to see it come from Ashley Orcus on a free kick almost from midfield.
Right. Yeah, I don't think that's something she practiced during the week. Hey, but this is the true test here, I think, here for Kentucky, who's had a tremendous season leading up to conference play. And you want to play in the SEC, these are the kinds of games and kind of situations you're going to have to be able to deal with.
Yeah, that really might spur this Kentucky team to attack even more earlier in the game than they expected. And when a mistake happens like that in the back, I think a team just kind of has to pull things together and kind of get settled after a mistake there.
Of course, what this may do is force Ole Miss to make a decision about whether they need to sort of sit back now and protect this lead, or whether they go in with the game plan. For both teams, an early goal always changes that original game plan, and that can really mix a few things up.
Wildcats turning the ball over. That was Olfersdotter putting a little pressure on and winning it back. If we look at Ole Miss coming into this game, we know that they can both score goals and they can shut other teams out. I mean, they have been stellar on the defensive end.
Yeah, I think all season they've let 2 goals in all season, which must be some sort of record right now across the league. Really, really fantastic defensively from them.
If we go back to the Orcas goal, you saw Radecki there, 7 assists on the season. Absolutely outstanding start to the season for her at center back and getting those set pieces off. I kind of expected if a goal came off of a set piece that she would be involved somehow, that Radecki would be the one serving it in. But Orcas taking the plaudits early. This ball is going to run out of play, and now a throw here as Price Leposer comes up to take it for Ole Miss. Not yet in set-piece long throw territory for Ole Miss. Little tangle here on the sideline. And we see the feistiness there of Mo O'Connor. Again, she's going to press all night long. That's a player that has an endless supply of energy.
Yeah, O'Connor's a real captain's captain. She's going to lead from the front here tonight.
You see it here. I mean, getting tangled up. Ulfersdotter, a player that is not afraid to get a little physical in there as well. And they're going to have their hands full tonight with that press up top. And now we are in Ashley Radecki territory as she gets ready to bomb one into the box. Radecki gets it back, service in, and that one, this time to Lula Miller, making no mistake, snatching it out of the air.
And you might expect Ole Miss all night tonight to be dropping balls right in the top of that 6-yard box and causing trouble for Miller.
And that to me looked like a planned set piece. It wasn't the long throw in, it was a shorter one to feet, and then Radecki got it back. As we look at the sideline for the University of Kentucky, what an outstanding start to the season. So many different goal scorers. They've been great at home. And this is something, if you're Kentucky and you're a fan, maybe a parent of one of these players, you are so glad to see the team playing as well as they have.
Yeah, and especially at home. I think if you want to be a team that's competing, you've got to be solid at home. That's where you pick up, that's going to be where you're picking up most of your points. Anything on the road is always gravy, as they say.
Pretty good crowd out here tonight as well. Trying to spur these Wildcats on. Ole Miss, again, doing enough to get the ball away, but good pressure here from Kentucky. Mallory Glass sliding it out. Farrington Bentel looking for the overlap, and she gets it. That ball driven in, not a bad effort, but Radecki, my mistake, Orcas pulling it out of the air and making it look easy. Good positioning there from the goalkeeper.
Yeah, just straight into her hands. I think once you can get yourself down there, looking at Kugler, once you get down that end line, you keep the ball down low, away from the goalkeeper, and you cause all kinds of trouble for a back four.
Kugler with the overlap. That's something we've seen the Wildcats not afraid to do, send their outside backs overlapping their wingers.
Yeah, you know, you gotta be passionate. You gotta have fullbacks that are willing to play. That's every modern team has fullbacks that no longer sit there next to the center back and just defend. They got to be versatile and they got to be dynamic.
Richardson again picking the ball up, but that one's stolen away. O'Connor getting hassled off the ball there. Mallory Glass, the freshman, has looked so solid. And you mentioned Hattori on that starting lineup graphic when we opened the game here, but Mallory Glass is a great partner in the center of midfield for her as well.
Yeah, I actually saw Mallory Glass play when she was still in high school, and she was here at a camp, and even then you could see just what a special player and hard worker she was even then, and what an obvious choice it was to bring her in and strengthen this Kentucky midfield.
Kugler again getting it forward to Farrington Bentel, taking the defender on, driven into the box right across the face of goal. What a great effort there from the Wildcats once again.
Yeah, and you see the difference there. The ball sort of 4 feet in the air, easy for the keeper, compared with one that is driven low and hard across the box.
Farrington Bentel, one of these players that is not afraid to take a defender on, and that one, that's right in that danger area where it takes a touch off a defender or forward. It doesn't really matter. That one could get in the back of the net.
Yeah, that's where you're looking for your strikers, just to be charging through as fast and as hard as they can.
Henschler and Dom swinging it around, and that time given away by Anna Young. These Ole Miss Rebels can certainly run forward once they turn the ball over, but Ulfersdotter there again, she's really dropped it back in and made some nice defensive plays for the Wildcats early. Still with the ball, somehow Ulfersdotter driving forward. That one slid through, almost a great connection there from Rhodes and Richardson.
Yeah, you know, Hattori was just making a nice clever run on the inside there for Rhodes. I'm surprised she didn't play her.
Here's Mo O'Connor dropping all the way back to get this ball and now trying to go on a run.
And Hattori just cleans it up.
Yep, like you said, Hattori, kind of that pendulum in midfield. She's going to dictate the tempo of the team and get back and make defensive plays like that. She's such a great box-to-box midfielder.
Yeah, nice seasoned player, lots of experience under her belt, and you know, coming from Milwaukee with Troy, you know, him talking about her yesterday, how important she has been, and that he didn't even know that she was on the transfer portal. You know, when the opportunity came that he was going to be able to get her here at Kentucky, he was thrilled.
So many transfers for both of these teams. That's a point we'll drive home over the course of this broadcast. You could almost go down the lineup and mention any of these players, and there you go. You look at Kentucky's transfers from Milwaukee directly. 4 transfers from Milwaukee. I think they really like Coach Troy Fabiano. I think that's got to be the explanation, right? Like, there's no way you get 4 players from your former school if they don't like playing for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a testament to him, and of course a testament to these players as well, that they were going to come in and raise the level, and I think we're seeing all season that they have.
Hey, I think part of the reason too, maybe the style of Coach Fabiano, almost the flat build there on the sideline. I love the headwear. He can rock the snapback kind of flat bill look. I cannot.
I'm sure somebody told him that he's going to need it here for these these Friday evening games as the sun sets right on the other side of the field.
Certainly, we've got the it gives him good shade as well. I've got to say, you can see the sun in the periphery. We might not get it as much in this game, but for the men's game later, it might be a little more of a concern as it drops down further and further here. Great ball forward. Oh, and a foul called, but once again, Kentucky looking like they can play direct, and Richardson that time drifting over to the right-hand side of the field.
Yeah, and there are just going to be moments like this for Kentucky where they're going to have to beat that press over the top from Ole Miss. I mean, you've got players like Richardson and Rhodes who can hold the ball up and get in behind and cause difficulty with their pace. That'll be a good sign here for Troy Fabiano, looking at Richardson, her hunger there.
Richardson with a little bit of a pull there, kind of had the pullback there on Sydney Michalak. Michalak, another one of these experienced defenders. Those 2 center backs for Ole Miss, so strong. They have so much experience in Radecki and Michalak. Ball thrown forward. Now in midfield, a tangle of players there. Now Ole Miss gets it out. Here's Ramsey Davis. Davis looking to take Anna Young on there, but mistimed the step over. Dom and Young connect and just play simple.
Composed from Kentucky coming out of the back.
And those are the areas we've talked so much about. Be composed, see if you can get the ball forward like this. And that one, might have been able to hear the fans on that one. Definitely a foul. Oh, and that one's going to be an early yellow card. Barrington Bentel pulled back. And a pretty easy call there, Haley Cloud, just a grab.
Yeah, I think so. You know, it's instinctual for some defenders, and you know, sometimes you don't know what's sitting behind you defensively. Someone like Farrington Bentel gets the other side of you. You've got a decision to make, and Ole Miss will know that Farrington Bentel has, you know, scored a few against them during her Mississippi State days.
So the early yellow card there. Ball into the box, that one driven well, but Ole Miss doing well to clear that away. Looks like it might have been Cloud making up for the yellow card there, heading that ball away. We saw head referee Aaron Hernandez with his first yellow card given out today. with the way Ole Miss presses, does it surprise you that there are a number of fouls or sometimes yellow cards with that style of play?
Yeah, not really at all. They're a high-energy team. They're hungry. They don't mind coming at you. Where that happens, there's always going to be missteps, sometimes on purpose. You always want the other team to know you're in the game.
Glass and Hattori combining once again in midfield. Ole Miss trying to compress, but a good swish of play.
Yeah, there's a moment that we're seeing Hattori doing what she does best and just dictating that direction yet again.
Now Farrington Bentel, another chance, maybe one-on-one. Probing the defense, long ball into the back post, and that one flicked up and away for a corner kick.
Yeah, Farrington Bentel causing all kinds of trouble out in that right wing.
And she and Kugler have really combined well. Kugler not afraid to make that overlapping run to try and draw defenders away. And that one in a really dangerous area. Ulfersdotter was lurking back there.
Just her hunger for goals. Whether she's 40 yards out or she needs to go and attack a back post, she's willing to do it.
Richardson going over. Could be a little bit of a set-piece opportunity here for Hattori as well. We've seen Richardson drive some in off set pieces already this season. Driven in, right in that danger zone again. Ole Miss doing just enough to keep it away. A hard shoulder charge from behind. And Haley Cloud again, she's got to be a little bit careful there.
Yeah, that seems like a dangerous thing to be doing on a yellow card.
I mean, that one clearly going to be shielded out by Dom, and it's cleared out into the corner flag there.
Yeah, I imagine Mo O'Connor will be having a word with her here in the next few minutes. Just keep the head. First SEC game.
Cloud, one of these experienced defenders, a junior. One of these transfers we talked so much about from Arkansas State. Another corner kick, that one into the box and cleared away.
And you can see they're just looking for Jordan Rhodes there.
Oh, and a shot from outside the box. Anna Young pulls it just to the left, but why not?
And that's what you're looking for from those players who sit on the outside of the box.
Whew.
And that wasn't a million miles away. She will like another crack at that.
It's tough to beat a goalkeeper like Orcus. Did well covering her ground there in front of the goal, but it's going to take something special from that distance.
I think so.
Saw a sub come on for the Ole Miss Rebels. That was Kayla Chapman-Haggerty. That ball served in, but again, Orcus there. Chapman-Haggerty going to slide into right back. Haley Cloud comes out, and they're going to move Leposer over to the left-hand side. So very clearly a smart strategic decision there to get the player with the yellow card off the field.
Yeah, and we speaking with Coach Matt yesterday, he talked about how deep this team is, and we won't be surprised to see 18 or 19 players find their way out onto the field here tonight.
Absolutely. It was really interesting talking to him about their style of play, the way they pressed, how much they run. And we asked him, do you have any luxury players that you can put in who don't play defense and who don't press the other team? And his answer was simply no. That's why we have so many players that can get on the field for us.
Yeah, I don't think anyone who knows Matt will be surprised by that.
Another hard shoulder charge there. Jordan Rhodes on the receiving end as the newly introduced Kayla Chapman-Haggerty introduces herself to Jordan Rhodes. Dana Dom, the sophomore center back, to cue things up from the set piece. Long drive. Rebels again doing just enough to poke it away. A long touch forward here. I believe that's Michalak, center back, making a run up. Nice moves here from Ole Miss, but Dom doing just enough. Here's Mo O'Connor. Davis. Turned back in, a shot! And that one's saved. Mary Kate McGuire was right in front of the goal. Do you think she may be straight offside there on that touch?
I think had the ball gone in,
Oh, Dom kept her onside.
Yeah, no, she was certainly onside there, and will be disappointed not to have scored something there.
That was a great play from Ramsey Davis to pull the box kind of backward into the box, and then that's the first. We've talked about Mary Kate McGuire, one of these other two forwards for Ole Miss. She's that poacher in the box, that typical I'm going to get in the right spot, and she was there keeping herself onside. I think she'll be disappointed looking back on that one. She had all the time in the world to poke it away.
Yeah, sometimes as a striker you've got too much time.
Thought of it, you can think about it too much, right? Long throw, headed away, Anna Young. Mo O'Connor again dropping all the way back, almost getting back into the area where Friesen plays their center defensive mid, but Kentucky turning it right back over and getting into possession. That time Aubrey Mister getting the ball. Here's McGuire. Footwork outside the box, lays it back to Mo O'Connor, but that one over the top.
Yeah, tidy feet from McGuire there, just to create a little bit of space for herself and set O'Connor.
Aubrey Mister doing well. Mister, one of those transfers. She came from Memphis, and we talk about this all the time for either of these teams. If you look down the list, it will not shock anyone to see we have a lot of freshmen and a lot of transfers for both of these teams, and both of those coaches talked about it. And I think as you look at SEC preseason rankings, that might factor into why both of these teams aren't ranked as highly. They just didn't know how they were going to adjust starting this season.
Yeah, and with transfers, I think you never know how they're going to come in and gel with the group you've already got there. But yeah, certainly I think, McGuire has been a big difference maker so far for Ole Miss this season, and Molly Thompson coming from LSU will be another one who I expect we'll see tonight.
And even over the course of players who have been with these teams for the past couple of years, I mean, you've got transfers that transferred earlier on in their career. You look at Radecki at Florida State. On the Kentucky side, there's a transfer from Florida State. It's just really fascinating to look through these and see, okay, where did these players come from? And I think that transfer portal opens up so much opportunity for coaches to say, hey, if you're not getting playing time at your other school, or maybe they brought in talented freshmen and you're not going to see the field as much as you thought when you were recruited, gives them that opportunity to change things up and find the right situation for them.
Yeah, I think players in general, you never really know how you're going to fit in until you get there and start preseason day one. I think some players have lots of different decisions to make after their first year, about where they want to be and how much game time they want to be working toward.
It was really a fun chat to talk to Coach Troy Fabiano about the UWM, the Milwaukee transfers that came from his old program. As we look at another transfer, Radecki here, about to throw this ball in. Wait for that to continue this story. This another big opportunity for Ole Miss. That one into the box. And it'll squeak out of play there, but a corner kick here for the Rebels. Clearly the Wildcats do not agree.
No, that's just a ferocious throw that will cause all kinds of trouble. And unlike a driven ball, like a corner kick or a free kick, a throw-in just causes a different sort of trouble. It's a different flight. Oftentimes the ball will be knuckling a little bit, and for a defender, it's a nightmare.
Radecki. Great ball dropped right in there into the 6-yard box. That one cleared away, though, and there was a foul.
Yeah, Dom read it the whole way. Did well to get up.
And again, we talk about that service, though. That's right in that danger area, right on the edge of the 6.
Yeah, Mo O'Connor just making life as difficult as she can for Dom.
And another tangle here. Henschler and McGuire just continuing to go at it, and that one finally, Henschler wins the battle. But like you said, Mo O'Connor, Mary Kate McGuire are not going to make it easy on you as you try and get the ball out of the back.
No, and good to see the referee letting that one go. Good physical battle between these two teams, and
that ball cleared away. There's Davis again. That one looked like it did trickle out of bounds.
And see Kentucky have maybe just taken a foot off the gas a little bit here.
Young looking to ignite this Wildcats attack with the throw. Richardson out to Farrington Bentel once again. We've seen her do this a few times already. Into the box, and that one right under the foot of Ulfersdotter, who had come forward. Another driven ball into the box. Oh, and a great header there, kind of off a deflection and into the hands of Ashley Orcus.
Yeah, not on her favorite left foot. But again, we see Farrington Bentel just getting a fantastic bit of half space for herself to be able to get that first cross in.
Kugler with the long drive on the second attempt into the box, and Ulfersdotter, who's really, the way Kentucky plays, she's really allowed to drift forward and kind of almost act as a second attacker a lot of times.
Yeah, you know, we talk about those luxury players who get that freedom, Josh. I certainly was not one of those players. But it's, you know, she's the kind of player that you don't need to tell to come back at the right time to come and do the work.
Here she is again, Ulfa. Long touch forward there. Sydney Michalak, though, matching her step for step and getting in front. That's the thing with these center backs. They're talented on the ball for Ole Miss. They're so athletic. We talk about athleticism for this Rebels team. We had talked about the transfers before. You go down the roster and it's like, oh, transfer from here, transfer from here. It's the same for these players that played different sports in high school. It's like, oh, this player also did track and field. They ran cross country. I believe there's a player for Kentucky that played hockey at one point, one of the Milwaukee transfers. It's pretty fascinating to see the athleticism on display from the Rebels.
Yeah, you know, growing up playing sports in Ireland, lots of Irish sports like hurling, Gaelic football, and even a little bit of rugby. I always got a lot out of playing in some other sports.
Here's Brenlyn Mullaney coming on. She'll play in that right midfield spot for Ole Miss. Freshman from Tennessee. Farrington Bentel handing it off to Hattori. And Hattori, one of the fun stories when we were talking with Troy Fabiano, he didn't know that she was going to transfer. He didn't even know she was going to play. It really just a kind of a funny story where she popped up on the transfer portal. He gave her a ring, and she was like, hey, coach, you just calling to talk? And he's like, yeah, that's all. No, of course. I'm trying to get you to come to Kentucky, right? It's just really cool. And again, Troy Fabiano gives you the call, and I think a lot of these players, if they were considering transferring, it's kind of a no-brainer. Yeah,
I think Troy's eyes must have lit up when he saw Hattori's name on there. I'm certain if he had an Amazon wish list of players that he could bring with him, she was at the top of that list.
Absolutely. Dom again. And that one not as they drew it up on the training ground, I'm sure. And Ole Miss so far doing a really great job on the defensive end, kind of doing just enough against this University of Kentucky team. And just look at that. Coming into the game, only allowing 2 goals this season. Orcus has 6 shutouts, which is one of the leaders in the NCAA. I think she's tied for first in that category. This Ole Miss team, what have you seen so far from both of these teams on the defensive end, Colton?
You know, looking at Ole Miss, you can see right now just how organized that back four is and how hard the midfield work in front of them. You know, it's sort of like an old Italian style when you can get your players, you can get a back line and a midfield in the right place at the right time defensively. It takes care of a lot of the trouble for you, no matter who you're playing against. Then looking at Kentucky, who have not quite reached the same level here as Ole Miss have in terms of goals that they've conceded, 6. Also relying a lot on some of those transfers who've come in, sharing some of that experience. They've again stayed organised and they've stayed hungry. And I think there's seeing this Kentucky defence in comparison to a couple of other years recently, they've got a real bite to them and the willingness to put their body on the line.
Cannot be afraid to get physical at times, especially against a team like this, Ole Miss. They're going to press you. It's going to be hard. And you've got to not be afraid to put a shoulder in there from time to time. Now, Kentucky looking more for the offensive end, seeing if they can break down this defense for Ole Miss. And Kugler coming forward. We've seen that combination with Kugler, and that one drops down. Tori trying a pop from outside the box, but that one Poked away once again by Ole Miss. I feel like we've said that a lot today. Crosses, balls on the edge of the box, but Ole Miss just doing just that, poking it away every once in a while.
Yeah, just enough.
Torrey tries again. And Mo O'Connor playing as an auxiliary center back right now, dropping all the way back to help out her defense. I've got to say, O'Connor, for me on film, as we watched some of the previous games, just stood out to me almost more than any other player on the pitch. Just the amount of running she does as that position, getting back on defense and helping out her team. That's got to be such a luxury to have.
Yeah, you know, her coach describes her as the energizer buddy.
We get a substitution here for Ole Miss. We'll take a look here at the goal that opened things up within the first minute and a half. Ashley Orcus with the dive bomb from up top.
Yeah, just such a deep ball played in. And you know, on a night like tonight where that zone is going to be facing Miller for the whole first half, why not dump it in on top of her early and see what she's doing?
Unbelievable long ball driven in there.
Great strength from Matt Torrey.
You see the shielding ability there. Those center mids so far for Kentucky have done a great job. What do you think about the bounce back from this Kentucky team after that first goal? It didn't really seem like that affected them too much. They've been playing their game throughout this half.
Yeah, certainly. I think they've been hungry and they've reacted well. You know, the only thing they haven't done is put one in the back of the net.
And I think it goes to show that this team, they've done so well out of conference play, but Coach Fabiano so wanted to get to the point that this UK team was just competitive in the SEC. When they start SEC play, can we play against some of these better teams like an Ole Miss? You look at Alabama, South Carolina down the line. Can they make it difficult for these teams? Can they play with them? And so far tonight, I think they have. You've got the one mistake from Ole Miss, from the goalkeeper, but they bounced back well.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Troy has not been brought in here to move things along. He's here to win SEC championships, and part of that is building that culture and a competitive environment. And we certainly see that here in this reaction.
Richardson, that ball went into the box. It's going to come back out to her. Dropped in. Orcus strong off of her line. That's something we've seen throughout the season for Ashley Orcus. She is not afraid to take a little contact.
No, she gets up well here, and strong hands, and willing to just absorb a little bit there from perhaps Ulfa.
And that is wait, looks like Maggie Henschler getting forward there as well. Some taller, more physical players that Orcus had to deal with, and now Rhodes out on the wing drifting wide. Richardson back in, and a heel flick into the back of the net. It's Barrington Bentel who makes Ole Miss pay, and the Wildcats even it up 1-1.
Yeah, I think it's been coming. You know, we've talked about the reaction from this Kentucky team. And Barrington Bentel, I think, getting what she deserves here. She's had a fantastic opening 30-40 minutes here.
Ulfersdotter with the first offering in. Richardson, what a smart play to put it back across the box, and Barrington Bentel just in the right spot. A nice little ingenuity there with the back of the foot.
Yeah, you know, Richardson has done the right thing, the unselfish thing, and just put the ball back into a dangerous area. You know, Barrington Bentel's back heel, you can't teach that.
You know, we sometimes say there can be a commentator's curse. That might have been a commentator's blessing. We were just talking about how Kentucky has looked so good after that first goal went in for Ole Miss, and then they get the goal off of that cross into the box. And that one, we've seen the combination from that side, and that time Ulfa drifting out to the wing to put that cross in.
Yeah, and of course, just watching Kentucky here, since that goal 30 minutes ago, it was only a matter of time. I think when you're sending balls in from both sides of the pitch, it's going to cause trouble, and the goal is going to come.
And that would mean Richardson gets her 8th assist of the season. If I'm not mistaken, that puts her right up near the top of the NCAA leaderboards in assists. She was kind of right below that tier, along with Radecki. She passes up Radecki, and now she's got 8 assists on the season. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, you know, and having coached Hannah for a couple of years and seeing her grow during her time at Kentucky, you know, she would have, I think, will admit to you that she was goal hungry and remains that way. But I think in moments like we've just seen there setting up Farrington Bentel, we see the maturity of her now as a senior, one of those leaders on the team that knows that it doesn't always have to be her, that that assist is just as valuable and that she's out there for her team.
That's a play that not every player sees either. They just get that tunnel vision on goal and they say, I'll just head this towards the goal instead, looking for a teammate like you said. And it speaks to the unselfishness of this Kentucky team as a whole. So many goal scorers. Nobody's afraid to pass the ball to someone else in order to get an open look in front of goal. And we've got a great one on our hands here. It's been a fun first 33 minutes here. Orcus, long ball driven away, and now sense a little more momentum now with Kentucky as they just push the gas a little bit here.
Yeah, you know, nearly 50 goals between these two in the regular season. We knew there were going to be goals tonight.
Molly Thompson.
I said we'd see her.
Yeah, Molly Thompson on. Alex Shunstadt on as well for Ole Miss. Here's Richardson again. Taking on the defense, sliding tackle in there, and that one's going to go out of play. Looks like a goal kick here for Ole Miss. Good track back there. I believe that was Leposer. Yeah, good sliding tackle there. She's slid now back over to the right-hand side of the field. She was playing left back after the Haley Cloud substitution, and they've...
Yeah, Leposer has done well there, just to get the timing right of that tackle. Somebody like Richardson who has quick feet. Very easy to leave your leg in there, miss the ball.
I want to up there towards Molly Thompson, over her head, and Kentucky defense will reset and try and play out of the back. Farrington Bentel pushed off the ball there by Chapman Haggerty. Nice step over there. That's Stella Downing who had subbed on. She's still going. Downing out to the right-hand side here to Mulaney. Mulaney twisting and turning, but Anna Young, the left back, looking strong playing against the wingers today for Ole Miss.
Yeah, you gotta be relentless. And we talked about, you know, building that culture and competitive environment, and you know, here's an example of it.
Yeah, strong tackle there, just keeping her feet, not trying to slide in and do anything rash in the box. Downing again, looking lively after being subbed on. Ole Miss will get it back out to Mulaney. Mulaney cross in, that one cleared away. Henschler doing a nice job there. Sydney Michalak, she's been known to take a drive up and toward the box. She does so, shot from outside, and that one just wide of the goal. Michalak just decided, why not? I'll have one from outside the box.
You know, you talk about a dynamic defender.
Oh my, the inches away really. And Michalak, I was watching back the Memphis game. They moved her to kind of an outside back or maybe a wing position, and she had a similar run against Memphis for one of their goals. She won a tackle and then just drove by 3 players and eventually scored. It was an incredible goal. You get to see her show off her dribbling ability again. That's got to be just a difference maker to have that ability from the back.
Yeah, I mean, such a utility to have a defender who can step in and be in control and be effective going forward as well. You know, you create all kinds of problems for the Kentucky defense here, creating an overload.
There's Thompson, and Downing was there, but good play by the Wildcats. Players getting back in position.
Anna Young again doing what she needs to do.
She's looked really energetic at left back. We get another sub here for Ole Miss. Jenna Kemp coming on.
You know, Young has really bounced back well from a pretty serious injury early on in her career here at Kentucky. We see there just a lack of fear she has and a willingness to go and be that player.
Radecki again from the corner kick. Ball into the box. Another dangerous service. That one served right back in. Good header there, but wide of the goal. And that's one of the shortest players on the field, Stella Downing, getting up for that one.
and number 98. You don't see a lot of that.
Anna Richardson will get a brief rest as Madison Jones comes on for the Kentucky Wildcats.
And it's warmed up out here, Josh, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
I was out walking the dogs this morning and I had a sweatshirt on me. And
yeah, Lexington at this time of the year, you're going to get nice cool mornings and then it'll heat up in the afternoon and evening. I think the men's game, it'll cool down a little bit, but we're still probably mid-80s here. Dropped all the way back. One in the direction of Anna Young, once again deals with the ball in. And you mentioned Anna Young at that outside back spot. She's got to deal with 2 subs that come on because now Jenna Kemp has subbed on for Ole Miss. She's at right midfield. They've had 3 players play at right midfield, so you've got fresh legs just continuing to come at you on that outside back position.
Yeah, you know, Young herself is quick and strong and makes good decisions, but it'll be important for that Kentucky backline to stay organised and organise that second press. It's inevitable as a fullback that you're going to be beaten here and there throughout the game, and that's when you rely on your centre backs and one of those defensive midfielders to be in a position to recover.
Jenna Kemp, a senior from Germantown, Tennessee. Radecki will get a chance to loft another one, this time back to Michalak, so a little different look. Michalak, beautiful ball into the box, and that one, you can tell Miller, after that first mistake that led to the Ole Miss goal, she's been more assured grabbing that ball out of the air.
Yeah, she won't want a repeat of the first 90 seconds. And you look at that throw in from Radecki, just the threat of the long throw pins Kentucky back because they have to be ready for the worst. And it allows them to just toss one back and send one into the box.
It was a good looking cross in the box by Michalak as well. It had the right distance on it.
More traditional means.
Absolutely. Kentucky possessing and press on once again from Ole Miss, but Wildcats have looked really assured in possession throughout this game.
Yeah, you know, we talked about the response, and they've got to be.
Referee with a decision on his hands, and he's going to say it goes to the Wildcats on that one.
Yeah, good decision. We perhaps have the best view of that than anyone here, Josh.
Aaron Hernandez, I think maybe overruling the assistant referee on the side there.
And that's your job as a center sometimes, you know, is to take charge of a game and make decisions. You're not going to get everything right, but I think it's worth just sort of being true to what you're seeing.
Kugler, another run forward. Still going. Kugler too far over the end line, but seen that over and over. It seems like that right side is the side that Kugler's making that overlap, driving forward, and then exchanging with Farrington Bentel when she needs to.
Yeah, and she had Madison Jones, I think, there behind her, and just needed to put her foot on the ball and drop one off. One of those unselfish moments we were talking about.
Amelia Road coming on for Ulferstadter, who has looked so sharp today in the attack for Kentucky. Rhodes a great substitute to bring on 3 goals this season. Oh, and a mistake here in the back. Stella Downing picks it up. She's got an opportunity. She didn't pull the trigger, but she's going to win the penalty, it seems.
A true moment of chaos. Moment of chaos here for Kentucky.
And Dana Dom there in the back, and she just misplayed that one right through her legs. I'm surprised Downing didn't pull it earlier, but she draws the PK there.
Yeah, I think Downing's done well just to keep herself between a Kentucky defender on the ball.
Downing using her body well, and we talk about that press for Ole Miss. It results in a turnover here in a dangerous position.
That's what happens, you know, even in seemingly comfortable positions, going and getting some pressure on a defender can be fruitful.
Chapman Haggerty about to take this penalty. She'll line up. And Haggerty, off the post and in. One that almost had too much power, but she will take it. Chapman Haggerty gets her first goal on the season off of the penalty.
Yeah, you know, great power right into the side. No chance for Miller getting that. You know, it might have been inches away, but the only thing that matters when you take a penalty kick, Josh, is that it goes in.
And even if Miller had gone the right way, she's not getting to that one. That one up top, off the post. I think teammates excited to see Chapman Haggerty get on the stat sheet for this season. And that's a little bit of a surprise to me. We talk about set pieces all the time. I expected Radecki or one of their other players to maybe step up and take that.
Yeah, that surprised me. That surprised me as well. You know, all kinds of things happen in practice that we don't get to see. Penalty shootouts are one of those things.
Chapman Haggerty stepping up, making it 2-1 Ole Miss here. It's been an exciting 41 minutes here in Lexington as these two teams look for their first win in their first game in SEC play. This ball forward. Crossed into the box, but that one, Orcus gonna make an easy save there.
Yeah, again, just a poor decision to send that into the box. She's looking all the way across the field. She can see where the space is, and there's no Kentucky player in there. She's just got to put her foot on the ball, come back, and look at the other side. Give players a moment for the cavalry to make its way up the field.
Ava Hellner came on for the Wildcats recently. She's playing up top now. Young with a strong run forward. That one, taken away and a foul called. It's like Jenna Kemp trying to help out her defense there. Leposer and Kemp, and Annie Young wins the free kick. Addison Jones stepping over it. That one in. Still in the box there with some Wildcats around it, but cleared away. A lot of bodies up there as they try to get something here before halftime.
Yeah, we were talking about it earlier, Josh, how important it is just to beat that first line when you're sending balls into the box. And when you don't, you've got a lot of disgruntled players around you.
It's time seeing if they can put something toward the box, but that one, again, Ole Miss playing tough defensively. Henschler around to Dana Dom, and Dom with that mistake leading to the penalty. If not for that and Miller dropping the ball into the net, this is a 1-0 game for the Wildcats.
Yeah, you know, in terms of possession and opportunities here, it looks like, you know, Kentucky have been on top, but goals are what matter out here.
That is the key difference. You can make a mistake or you can have a player have an outstanding effort. And that's what's going to get you the goals. It doesn't matter how many shots you have on frame or not.
I'm going to see, the couple of games ago, Ole Miss against Southern Mississippi may have had 20, 30 chances throughout the game and failed to convert one of them. I think tonight is they're starting to see the fruits of some of that work.
I believe that Southern Miss game, Southern Miss had one shot on goal. And that's just unbelievable that a team could be pressed that far back. You've got to deal with so much from Ole Miss. That's the type of style Ole Miss plays. They're going to press you high up the field the entire game in some instances.
And I think, learn and take your chances is exactly the kind of lesson you need to learn coming into conference play. You play that game against Southern Miss, and I'm certain Ole Miss all week would have worked on and talked about converting the chances. And especially in the SEC, once you get into conference, you don't know when the next one's going to come.
Teams like Alabama, Arkansas, South Carolina, they get that one chance, they'll put it away. So you have to take your chances where you get them.
Time waits for no one.
10 seconds left here. That ball cleared away. Kentucky seeing if they can do anything else. Long ball in. Rode with the last second touch there, but that one over the top of the goal. And we've got Ole Miss leading 2-1 here in Kentucky. What do you think of that first half?
Lots of excitement here for us, Josh. I think Kentucky will be disappointed to have let 2 goals in off 2 mistakes, and I think Ole Miss will be, a bit disappointed with, Kentucky's ability to keep possession against a team that otherwise, does a really good job at keeping a high press on teams and win the ball back.
And we'll be back here shortly here in Lexington. capitalizing on those chances. Kentucky will kick off here and see if they can make some more opportunities. That right side of the field has been so good with Kugler coming forward and overlapping Farrington Bentel, and we've seen Alpha drift out here to the wing as well.
Yeah, I suspect we're going to see a lot of action down here on our side this second half.
And Ashley Orcus no longer with the shutout now that UK scored that goal. She had 6 shutouts coming into this game. That was tied for first in the NCAA. It's got to be a neat feeling. Goalies don't get that opportunity all the time to score, definitely score a goal, but even get assist. Sometimes they'll just kick one long and it ends up right for them. That's got to be fun to be on the goal score sheet for once.
Yeah, I've played with one goalkeeper who scored on a wet, rainy night at Wright State. You know, he punted it, AJ Fleek. Maybe the largest punt I've ever seen from a goalkeeper. 2 bounces in the back of the net.
Sometimes that wet, rainy night is perfect for that type of goal to go in, right? Richardson again. The interesting thing with Richard's service, it seems like either foot is fine for her. She'll bend this one in with the left foot. That one into Orcus's hands. And again, she shows how strong she is in the air, plucking that out.
Yeah, Richardson's one of those players who just works so hard on her technique, perhaps more than any other player at this level, and she's certainly demonstrates it there, going both sides on a corner. Not many players can do that.
That one I wasn't sure when we were seeing the first corners come in if she was taking it with her right from the other side and the left from this side, but now I can tell certainly that's a left-footed cross, and I think she goes right foot from the other side of the field. Pretty impressive. Ole Miss on the far side gets possession back, and that's something we haven't seen a ton of. Ole Miss playing it around. Credit that both of these teams press so high, it's really hard to possess out of the back with either of the center backs.
Yeah, and you know, a clever team will try and miss that press and not keep themselves under pressure. Interestingly, I can see that Hattori is just starting a little bit ahead, closer to where Ulfa's starting off, and let Mallory Glass take care of some of that more defensive responsibilities. And I won't be surprised if we see Hattori a little bit further up the pitch, looking for that pocket between midfield and the back line, and then looking for those runs from Farrington Bentel and Richardson out wide.
Yep, they need that goal to get back even in this game. Radecki throws it in. McGuire tracking back, another strong dribble into the box. That one's going to be a goal kick, shielded out by Kentucky well. This Ole Miss team led by just a fantastic coach, Colton. I mean, Matt Mott, you look at the resume, you look at what he's done, the program he's built at Ole Miss, coming in and becoming one of the most successful coaches in program history.
Yeah, it takes a lot to do it every year at this level, and he's proven himself again and again. And he's a guy, I think, who knows his style. He knows what he wants out of a team. He said yesterday he's on the hunt for athletes out in that recruiting road. And I think half the battle is just knowing what you're looking for, and he's a guy who's figured that out.
In both Troy Fabiano and Matt Mott, excellent to talk to, great chatting with them, and that chat led into something that I was curious about with Matt Mott. He said he had started a podcast with some of the coaches he's worked with. It was something I actually listened to before games as I prepped for them, and just really fun to hear the story behind that. I mean, he was literally on a call with another coach, chatting with head coach at Florida State, head coach at Rice, Chris Petrucelli, I believe is how you pronounce his last name, who's now coaching the Chicago Red Stars. That ball's put into the box. And Matt Mott's wife said, "You guys should start a podcast." They're just talking on the phone. And he thought, that might not be a bad idea. His brother produces the show, and every week they put out a podcast. Sometimes they do tier lists of all the different teams in the NCAA. And it's pretty cool to have kind of that insider look from coaches who are currently coaching these teams about players and teams in the NCAA.
Yeah, you know, it's the kind of thing that I think both players and fans enjoy, but other coaches spend a lot of time listening to it. And, you know, we can't have coaches sort of locked up in their offices at all times and only coming out for press conferences. So to hear guys talk sort of candidly about their experiences is a really valuable thing.
Rhodes tries to put that one in, cleared by Radecki. Credit to the other coaches on that podcast, Brian Lee from Rice, Chris Petrucelli, I mentioned, now with the Chicago Red Stars in the NWSL. They oftentimes have on Robbie Church, head coach of Duke. I mean, that's a star-studded coaching cast that you have on that type of podcast.
It'll be us next, Josh.
Absolutely.
You just see the last couple of balls that Kentucky have sent in, just a little bit too close to Orcus. Not forcing her to make a decision of whether she should stay or whether she should go.
You mentioned a coach who coaches at the NWSL level. Orcus is a player that could play at that NWSL level. Coach Matt Mott was really adamant when we asked him, do you think she'll play professional? Without hesitation, yes. And she should be the first goalie, in his opinion, that's taken off the board in the NWSL draft.
He may have even said that she should be the first player. And I won't be surprised, looking at her performance here tonight.
And good, we saw the goal off the set piece, but he was really crediting her play with her feet. She can start an attack from her feet rather than from her hands. Here's O'Connor.
Yeah, Orcus's distribution is second to none at this level.
Here's McGuire. And that one forward. Here's Rhodes. Harrington Bentel. Oh, and that one, a little bit of a tug down. I believe that will be a free kick in a dangerous position for Kentucky.
Against Michaelak. Michaelak pleading her innocence here.
Michaelak drifted over there, and you could tell there's just a little tugging maybe on the shirt there with the arm. That one's going to be a free kick, and Ulfer's daughter in a dangerous position.
That's all for being clever. Sometimes when you feel that contact as a midfielder or an attacker, you got to let the referee know.
Now Kugler coming over to take this free kick, and there are a whole host of Wildcats on the back post. Kugler, driven service, good position, header just wide of the goal. And again, Kentucky's had that a couple of times. Good service into the box, that one just wide.
Yeah, and right on the head of the person you wanted to land on, Jordan Rhodes. Yeah, just, maybe a little bit static here from Rhodes and not able to generate the power and direction that she would like to have on that ball.
So much traffic in there. She did well to kind of drift back and just open up a little space for that header. And Rhodes, one of these talented players, I wouldn't be surprised if she at some point is playing professionally in the professional ranks. And so we talk about professional players. Matt Mott has seen his share at Ole Miss as well. He really has, as you see Orcus, who we expect to see in the NWSL, he has seen a lot of those talented players pass through the halls at Ole Miss for sure.
Yeah, they've had quite the pipeline coming through there. And it's really amazing. I think there will continue to be more and more opportunities for these players coming out of college to go and play at professional levels, and it's a great thing to see.
Orcus with another great service in. That one kind of teasing that back line as you see the big names there. Hey, Chicago Red Stars, we were just mentioning.
Down the street, Racing Louisville.
Racing Louisville off to their start in the NWSL. A pretty recent team in the league, all things considered. Red Stars, an excellent team. And then Brazilian national team player. That's pretty great to lean on to say, hey, check out these players that have played for my program. A little bit too much physical action in there in the 6, and we'll get the corner now from Radecki. That one not finding anybody from Ole Miss until it passes through the box, and now cleared away from the Wildcats. Richardson trying to break, but Michaelak again over. It seems like just back and forth. She's there to sweep up those messes.
Yeah, and she had to get that pass right. Richardson just the right kind of awareness to know she's offside.
She came back. Maybe Rhodes could have tried to put a little press on Michaelak. Popping that one up the field. Looked like Lauren Montgomery trying to track onto that.
And you mentioned Rhodes just taking a bit of a gamble there. I think that's what Kentucky will need to do here in the second half, is be willing to sort of take some chances, and that means coming out of a very organised shape.
Rhodes, one of these players that can really pop up with a goal whenever you need it. She's a player who has scored goals throughout her career, both at the high school and collegiate level here for the Wildcats. Now a chance to break forward. Barrington Bentel looking for the overlap, and she gets it from Kugler. Oh, great defense there by Mister. She wins it back for the Rebels. Here's Montgomery. Anna Young again, that time pressing a little more aggressively and getting the ball eventually turned over back to the Wildcats.
Yeah, she wasn't sure for a moment whether it was going to come all the way to her.
And if she misses that tackle, there's a winger in behind her. She had stepped into the midfield a little bit there, and a chance that she doesn't get there right in time. It could have been a break on for the Rebels.
Yeah, certainly not something she could afford to get wrong there. You know, just before that, Farrington Bento's pass out wide, it's just got to be better. You know, I know we water fields here at halftime before the game, but it is a dry day, and it's going to dry up quickly. You got to have enough meat on that pass.
Yeah, that's something. The field's in great condition, but like you said, it's not gonna slide as easily as you go throughout the game. So Richardson leaves it for Young on the far side. Back to Young's feet. Young.
And you can't see it on your screen, but there is acres of space out on this right-hand side for Kentucky and Farrington Bentel if they can just find some width again, as they did so successfully in that first half, leading to that first goal.
Do you think they're staying too compact on offense and need to widen the field a bit more?
Yeah, you know, I think it takes and when you start chasing games, you have a tendency to sort of follow the ball and get compact like this. And I think really, you know, to exploit space and exploit some of that compactness that Ole Miss will be happy to have, you've got to be willing to be patient in your position and hold some of that width and some of that depth up top of Jordan Rhodes.
We saw Richardson and Farrington Bentel make so many good runs with the ball at their feet when they were able to get it wide. Here's a good run for Ole Miss. Ball in the corner. That one swung into the box and Glass in the way. Mo O'Connor with the shot. That one takes a deflection and is cleared away by the Wildcats. That was a good run on the far side. I believe Montgomery served that ball in initially. And O'Connor, again, why not?
I think Mallory Glass has just got to do a little bit more than she's done there. Put the ball back in the direction where it's come from rather than just knock it down to the outside of the box.
Here's Glass now. Farrington Bentel clears it away.
I think we're seeing Kentucky a little bit more panicked here around in their own half. Unlike that first half, I think we saw moments where they were happy and confident and composed enough to be able to play out and retain possession. And what we're seeing now the last few minutes is a little bit more hit and hope.
Here's Radecki with one of those dangerous long throws. O'Connor cushions it down and flicks it in, but that one cleared away once again by the Wildcats. Mister. Left-footed curler, that one a little bit too far.
Ole Miss doing a great job just picking up second balls here.
It's Ramsey Davis. Drops back, but
better from Young.
Good defensive play there.
That's a step in the right direction for Kentucky. Just starting to look for each other, find each other, think, how can we build out of the back here? Because they had so much success there in the first half.
And that was the player you targeted at the beginning of the game. Hattori stepped over there, won the ball back, and tried to spur the counterattack for the Wildcats.
And she's your player. She's the one that can do that, and she's senior enough in this squad to be able to say to players around her, "Hey, have some confidence. You can do this. You can get composed on the ball."
Young on the far side, entangled with O'Connor, poked away by the Rebels.
I always say the ball is something to be cherished.
Time. It did look like Hattori again getting back and staying composed, shielding the ball that time.
You got to be, at this level, you got to be comfortable with the ball at your feet. It's easy, I think, for players to go and hide, and Hattori's not one of those. I see her every time a ball's getting ready to be thrown in. She's the player that's out there looking for it.
Richardson with a streaking run in. That one stays in. She just couldn't quite get her hips around it. And into the hands of Ashley Orcus once again.
And I mentioned it about 10 minutes ago, Josh, just every Kentucky cross so far this half has just gone straight into the hands of Orcus, and they, and I think they have a willingness to go deep, and that's good, but when the last 5 balls have dropped straight into her hands, you got to think about pulling something back toward the top of the box. You've got the likes of Ulfa and Farrington Benton, who is making fantastic runs toward that box.
You're right, if she's able to get that cut back towards the top of the box, there's so many options, but we see there Richardson making the run, staying wide. That sparks that attack for the Wildcats. Good step up here from Chapman Haggerty. Tried to find McGuire's feet, but that one a little too far away.
Yeah, another slow pass from Kugler.
Good transition here for the Wildcats. Jordan Rhodes still with it. Rhodes somehow still with the ball and wins the corner kick for Kentucky.
Yeah, she's done well. Just asking the question of this Ole Miss defense.
See Richardson come back over here, assuming using the left foot this time. The old switch kick.
I think it's for Hannah, whatever foot she wants.
See if they can get something queued up in the box. Service in there. Orcus through her hands. Don't see that often. Comes back out. Young with the shot. That one driven away. Good opportunity there from Annie Young.
Yeah, you just force something a little bit different when you ask Orcus to come further outside of her box there. She's got to come into a few more bodies, a little bit more of a high traffic area.
Oh, Mo O'Connor. Dangerous slide there from behind. Yeah, that one I suspected will be a yellow card.
Great sign there from Annie Young, just trying to put the ball down and play it quick, keep the tempo up here.
Finds the feet of Hattori. That press from O'Connor, and if she times that wrong, it's pretty much a yellow card.
Yeah, I don't think any maliciousness, no malintent.
That's just the style of play that we've seen with this Ole Miss team. They're going to press hard, and every once in a while that causes a foul like that, and you might get a yellow card every once in a while.
And O'Connor herself is the spirit of that attitude.
Kugler again, that one flicked backward. Like Friesen there. Oh, and tracking it down. Nice play and played out by Ole Miss.
And Kentucky just can't do that. When a ball breaks away into that final third, into that Ole Miss defensive third, you've just got to be willing to chase some stuff down.
Oh, and a little bit of a coming together there in the box. Jordan Rhodes was taken down, and obviously the fans thought there should have been a foul called there.
I think a coming together describes it well.
Yeah, it's hard to see, even in real time, it's hard to see if there was a lot of intentional contact. Kind of just seemed like two players getting involved there.
I think referees made a good decision.
Richardson now with the right foot. Driven ball. That one cleared away once again. Rebels doing enough. Kugler. Strong step out there by Friesen. That one will be won by the Wildcats.
And again, just a soft pass from Kentucky, so prescripted, that allows Ole Miss to sort of telegraph where the ball is going to be. That's been a handful here and something they want to get a handle on.
I'll see some subs for Ole Miss as Mulaney, Downing, and now Lucy Green comes on as well for the Rebels.
Fresh legs.
And we know they'll do that. That press is going to just continue on with these players coming onto the field for the Rebels.
When you work your players like Coach Matt does, you've got to be deep and have players that can hold that level when they come on.
Like we said, we mentioned it in the first half. He has no players that can't play defense. They all have to be able to press the ball the entire game. Yeah. Great ball over the top.
Yeah, look at Mo O'Connor there, just all over that Kentucky back four.
Mo O'Connor, when I watch her play on film and seeing her in person, I wonder if she has like 2 or 3 energy drinks before the game or something, because she's all over it the entire game. The energy levels are outstanding. I guess the question would be whether it's Red Bull or does she prefer Bang energy. Maybe we could find that out after the game. Vittori drops it back in. Here's Henschler. And you see the press from the Rebels. Great touch from Kugler. The goal scorer, Chapman Haggerty, with a fantastic sliding effort.
Yeah, great show of strength as well, just to hold on to that ball.
And you can tell the physicality from both teams. Both teams are wanting to get stuck in and win that ball back and transition quickly.
Both of them here in this open game will be wanting to make a huge stamp.
Cameron Bliss, the freshman from Florida, come on for Ole Miss. She's played in 7 games this season. The other thing that's always wild to me as I go down the roster for either of these teams, you look at the high school stats from some of these players. Bliss is another player. She comes off the bench. She scored 59 goals and had 46 assists at Freedom High School during her high school career. Oh, and you want to talk about multi-sport athletes. She actually kicked for her high school football team extra points and kickoffs. So playing both types of football for Cameron Bliss.
That's pretty dynamic.
Bliss number there, 34 in the background.
I think the referee thinking about giving a yellow card to Rhodes there, and just thought again.
It'll be a free kick there for Ole Miss, and you want to talk about field goal kickers. Ashley Orcus will boot one in. She would have made a heck of a field goal kicker for American football.
She still might.
Crossed in. And that's a transition we've seen in some collegiate women's soccer teams. You think about Vanderbilt, had that player who stepped in and kicked field goals for them. It's, when you get used to kicking it so far, it'd be a great asset for someone doing kickoffs or extra points.
Yeah, especially for goalkeepers. The technique is not all that different. You're trying to get under the ball and really drive through it.
Ball driven up and away from the UK box, but back to Orcus now. You see the press on from Jordan Rhodes there up the field.
And that's what they've got to do. It might not be pretty here for Kentucky if they're chasing a second goal.
That ball turned over near the edge of the box. Mulaney coming forward, drops it back to Downing.
Yeah, great decision just to drop that ball off.
A touch, a shot, and that one from the field goal kicker we just mentioned. Bliss tried to rip one.
Well tidied up by Michael Ack, but Rhodes has just got to be a bit more on top of things there and expect that ball and anticipate it to come out to her.
Farrington Bentel on this near side, making the slide in to win the ball away. It'll be Ole Miss throw. Henschler. Oh, there looks like a hand there. I thought the referee put the whistle to his mouth for a second there as well. That would have been in the box. Play will go on. Here's Mulaney again. And cleared away. And Ole Miss with the press way high up the field now.
I can hear Coach Fabiano just talking to Jordan Rhodes there.
Here's Mo O'Connor, a touch. And a penalty called. Mo O'Connor with a great first touch to get around the defender. Now Ole Miss with another penalty opportunity.
Yeah, she's quick. She's dynamic in there. Let's see now just how much contact there was. Yeah, just enough.
Yeah, Henschler
just enough. Henschler just getting a little bit too tight there and flat on her heels.
Yep, she left that foot out there just a little bit too much. And now Mo O'Connor with the chance to put another one up from the penalty spot for Ole Miss.
Interesting going with a different taker.
Oh, and off the crossbar and away. The Wildcats get away with one. Maggie Henschler must be relieved. And
yeah,
O'Connor just blasted that one.
Yeah, Ole Miss will be hoping that's not their undoing.
Here's Rhodes now. Wildcats a chance to break. Farrington Bentel gets the switch. Oh, and that one just misplayed from Farrington Bentel. Take a look back at the PK here. Gosh, blasted it.
All power. All power, no place. I think that crossbar is still shaking.
Man, we talk about the power for field goal kicks here in the second half, and that one would have kept going for a while if it had gone over the crossbar.
I tell you what, Josh, I haven't played at a lot of levels. Anytime you get away with conceding a penalty kick and the other team not scoring it, whether they miss or your goalkeeper saves it, it gives you a real oomph for the next 5-10 minutes. I won't be surprised if Kentucky react really well here and go down and score one against Ole Miss.
And you saw immediately after the PK this break forward. We've got another one here for the Wildcats. There's Olfa trying to keep it away from Michaelak, using the body and the skills. That one cleared away, but it'll be a Wildcats throw in a dangerous position. Apparently not.
Some disagreement between the assistant and the center here.
Well, now we've got a yellow card coming for someone. I would guess Coach Fabiano on the sideline disagreeing with the call. And it's still going to be an Ole Miss throw. I was a little shocked on that one. See, Ulfersdotter holding the ball up so well. And tracking back to it was one of the substitutes,
My gut says Kentucky ball.
That one was tough from the assistant referee's vantage as we were a little closer to the field on that replay. I mean, it did. They hit the ball almost at the same time.
It's we spoke about it earlier. Referees are going to get things right. They're going to get things wrong. I think as a coach and as a player, it's your responsibility to move on as quick as possible. Sometimes you feel as a coach you've got to say your piece, and you won't sleep that night unless you do.
Head referee on that one, Aaron Hernandez, presenting Troy Fabiano with the gift he didn't want. As a player, though, does that get you a little fired up if you see your coach getting kind of into the game in that way?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's it. That's your job as coach, is to find a way to motivate your players, and that's one way. If they know you're passionate, they know you care, those players better care as well.
One bombed away by Orcus, and man, just cleared out with the shoulder. Molly Thompson picks up the foul there.
Yeah, I don't think Dam could feel her coming anytime you're not expecting contact. It's always a little bit worse.
Kugler will take the free kick here. Kugler 2 assists this season. Again, one of these players from Milwaukee, one of the transfers. Ball put in there, bounces around. Left-footed cross, and an offside flag up on the near side.
Good opportunity for Kentucky. And just getting that second ball.
Doing well to stay active.
Yeah.
Olfa just straying offside past the back line.
And kudos to that Ole Miss back forward, just stepping out nice and quick ahead of those Kentucky attackers. Very easy as a defender to sit there and ball watch and see what the ball's going to do.
And the physical play rolls on. Free kick here as we get a little short break in play. There's other games going around the SEC as well, and some big ones. Alabama and South Carolina last night. That was a huge game in the SEC and nationally. We've got some others that are going on right now or a little shortly after this game with Auburn and Missouri tied 0-0 right now.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of interesting results at the end of this weekend.
Oh, that one dropped down for a shot opportunity for Henschler. South Carolina and Alabama, those are two teams. Alabama was excellent last year. South Carolina just come out busting the doors off to start this season. I mean, you're talking about potential deep tournament runs for either of those teams.
Yeah, we heard Ian talking at halftime about the quality South Carolina have, and that will be a huge upset for Gamecocks. Of course, like we have here, there are minutes left to play.
There's always more time. Rhodes comes off and Madison Jones comes on. Madison Jones, one of those talented freshmen. She's played in every game this year and has a goal. Olfer's daughter again getting into that corner and winning a throw.
Taking a little bit of the assistant with her.
She's ready to play physical against anybody, even if you're not on the field. Thrown in by Kugler. And that one now for a corner kick. So Wildcats just continuing to pile up a little bit on these set pieces. We actually, before we came into the game, Ole Miss is the team you would expect that would get more corners in this one, and it's gone the other way.
Yeah, Kentucky have kept them under pressure and forced Ole Miss defenders to do things they don't want to do.
Richardson again, and this time with the left.
And Hattori standing out there, just trying to take one more defender.
And that one, this time Orcus with an excellent snag out of the air. We saw her drop that earlier one. Not a bad ball. You think you would want to see that come a little bit farther out, though, from the goalie?
You know, Orcus is, no matter where that lands, she's going to be tough to beat in the air. But I think, yeah, you know, when you're looking at the last 5, 6, 7 balls that she's been able to collect, somewhat uncontested, you just have to make a decision to get the ball away from her, because she's so cleanly been able to pick up the ball, and as you know, it's very difficult to up and challenge keeper.
Friesen and Mister come back on for the Rebels. Now on the far side, Chapman Haggerty about to throw the ball in. That one cleared away. It's Richardson getting tangled up with Leposer. And Price Leposer, we've seen her swap sides with Chapman Haggerty throughout this game. Oh yeah, definite shirt pull there.
Yeah, Richardson's got a good handful.
As Orcus prepares to play this forward. And you know, I think we talked a little bit about this in the pregame and even off air, but both these teams, obviously the first game in SEC play. What are you looking for, both for Kentucky and Ole Miss, as they move forward throughout the rest of the conference season?
Yeah, I mean, I think looking at Ole Miss, they're going to be, as we expect, to be high energy, competitive team that's going to be physical and cause teams a lot of trouble. You know, Matt Moat will not just want SEC West championships here, he wants an SEC championship, and he wants to take that back to Oxford. You know, the Kentucky side, I think, you know, Troy Fabiano, it's, of course, he's already raised the level here a lot.
What a ball over the top, Barrington Bentel, it's onside. Orcus with a great hand to get to it. Still Olfer's daughter, and that one wide of the goal. But the initial play, beautiful.
Yeah, it actually looked like, and just a great ball from Farrington Bentel. Great ball, and it just looked like there was enough contact for Ulfa, and you always look for players to stay on their feet. But as we've seen down the other end with Mo O'Connor, just clever enough to absorb that impact, and again let the referee know, hey, I've been clipped. There's been contact here on between the defender and the ball.
The timing on that pass and through run were perfect as well. Olferstadter is one of these players that can slot a chance like that away. Orcus so active coming off her line.
And we see this Ole Miss back four is not impenetrable.
Tori picking this one up. So we talked about Ole Miss and expectations for them. They've made the Sweet 16 a couple of times now in Matt Mott's career as head coach. I think that next step is, let's get to that Elite Eight. Once you get over that Sweet 16 hump, it's like, okay, Elite Eight.
Yeah.
Championship maybe. So that's something to look out for Ole Miss. What about for Kentucky as they head forward in SEC play?
I think Kentucky will be looking to compete, get themselves up that top level of the SEC tournament, and there's no reason, looking at the talent and the work rate of these players this season, that they can't be thinking about an NCAA spot. You got to be competitive, and you can't be willing just to sort of rest on small victories. Troy Fabiano has proven as he's come in here, he said this is the place for him. He trusts the people that are around him. He's been delighted with the players that he's been able to bring in. This is his squad. He wants to be competitive.
Great combination of players that have been with UK for a while, and then bring in those transfers, those freshmen, those newcomers. They've gelled so well so quickly in the season.
Yeah, it's always a difficult thing to do, and that preseason, even that regular season, is such a short span of time. Unlike the professional game, where sometimes you've got 2 months to make all that happen, to understand that timing and build those relationships with players around you on the field. College is a different beast.
And pleasant surprise, I'm sure, for Wildcats fans to see what Coach Fabiano has done so early on in his coaching tenure. So much success at UW Milwaukee, before that UW Parkside in Division II. I was looking again kind of through his history, and at one point between 2017 and 2022, he had a record with the Panthers of 77, 7, and 7. It's a lot of sevens, it's a lucky number, but that was the best win-loss of any Division I team during that time period. So he has clearly had success at a different stop before this, and leading to early returns for the Wildcats in his tenure. And he's not happy right now, obviously, with some of the calls, but I think he's got to be pretty pleased with the start of the season.
Yeah, you've got to be, and we see his frustration here in a game like this, and decisions like that. It just demonstrates his hunger. He's a guy who likes to win.
Pleading his case to the referee on the sideline.
Yeah, I think he and the fourth official might become friends by the end of this game.
It reminds me of Pep Guardiola in the Champions League this week, yelling at the referee, getting a yellow card, then giving him a hug right afterwards.
It is all part of the game. All is fair in love and soccer.
That's great. You got to write that one down or something and put a copyright on it. That would be a great bumper sticker for a soccer parent.
That will be my memoir, Josh.
Ole Miss playing the ball around, seeing if they can stick out. About 10 minutes remaining now here. And that one going down is Anna Young. And as a refresher, if this ends with a draw, Kentucky's able to equalize, that's it. There's no overtime anymore. What's your opinion on that, Colton? Do you like that? Do you dislike it?
Oh, I'm for it. I think, draws are an important part of the game. Picking up 8 points, especially when you're playing away from home. Sometimes a point is a victory in itself, and it helps, I think, us understand league standings and conference standings a little bit more clearly.
And they clearly don't have overtime in Ireland or England or Scotland. We'll be familiar with the way they do it over there. So
right, and I think another thing it does for college soccer players play so many games in such a short span of time.
Yep.
And I think it's important anytime you can to protect these players from overwork and overplaying. And I think that's a step toward helping those players, and particularly some of those strength and conditioning coaches and trainers out there, predict what these players are going to need.
Absolutely. Orcus with another long ball, and
brave from Miller. Brave from Miller. She timed that well.
Great punch. Proposer. Crouch back to Mister. Good cross in. That one drops down in a dangerous opportunity as that one was played back into the box. Here's Richardson. Hard shoulder into Laposer. And one back away by Ole Miss.
Yeah, and great decision from Ole Miss. Just to drop the ball off here, regain possession, take the sting out of that moment.
Header away by Henschler. Only as far as Aubrey Mister. Mister just riding the shoulder. Now cleared away by Henschler. Oh, that one does stay in. Good track back there from Rhodes. Connor with a great piece of skill there. Gets it back. Swung out wide by Montgomery. Ramsey Davis trying to take on Young 1v1. She wins the corner kick here for the Rebels. In this sort of spot, I think you've got the opportunity to seal this game away. You've got a set piece here with 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes to play. This might be a game-sealing goal if they're able to get something on this one.
Yeah, this would almost certainly clinch it for Ole Miss. And so much so, you know, in open play, you're dragging Kentucky. Kentucky have been forced to come out from where they are and their organization and go and take a bit of a risk.
Radecki, great ball in there. There was so much traffic. Somehow, Kentucky scrambles it away. Poser a little bit too far there, and that one will be collected. Miller, after that first goal that was dropped in, has looked more calm and assured back there.
Yeah, I think, you know, just early on in the game, goalkeepers don't always have to deal with something right in on top of their box so early on.
Kugler still going, and now out for the corner kick, and now we talk about set pieces.
That's a great run. That's a great run. This late in the game, you've got a real engine.
We'll see Richardson step up here.
Hattori over there just giving another option and taking one more defender out from that box for Ole Miss.
There's so many players on this Wildcats team that are capable of getting their head to it. That one served in, nice flick, but there's a player on the line ready to clear it out. That one deflected up and over, and Orcus corrals it.
Yeah. I think it just came off the head of glass. And Kugler again did well to get anything away here under a lot of pressure.
Credit to Ramsey Davis, who cleared that first effort away.
Great feat by Hattori again.
Just has that ability to calm the game down, doesn't she?
Yeah. And you've got a first touch that good, and you see when balls come in there, she's got the awareness just to scan over her shoulder and know what's around her.
Type of composure that the Wildcats need here as Young throws it towards Farrington Bentel. Good ingenuity there with a little flick and another throw here for the Wildcats.
Cleaned up again by Michaelak.
Michaelak has been just back and forth on that back line, cleaning up everything.
Yeah. She must come from a family of undertakers. She's the last person that would let you down.
Michaelak has played. We talk about the overtime rules and getting less minutes. I mean, you look over the course of her career with this team. I mean, played almost 20 games in every single season she's been a part of this team.
And you can see why. At every moment in this game, you can see why.
Miller plays it out to Kugler. Poser flicks it up, and now Ulfersdotter brings it down. Good win by Aubrey Mister. Kugler regains it. It's not connecting right now for the Wildcats.
No, Kentucky have failed just to sort of get those patterns that they had going so well for a period in the first half. were able to disjoint that really compact midfield and back four from Ole Miss and create some space for themselves.
And you can see Hattori pushing a little bit further up the field as well, trying to just add those extra players in any attacking position they can. Glass, good touchdown. That finds its way to Ulfersdotter, but be a free kick for the Rebels. Ole Miss here with a little over 2 minutes to see out the rest of this one.
Yeah, Orcus won't be in any hurry here.
And if you missed it, Orcus with the first goal of the game off of a free kick that dropped through Miller's hands. It's tied up by Kentucky via Farrington Bentel.
Hands there with three in a row there.
And here is Farrington Bentel, drops it back to Ulfersdotter.
There's Hattori, just who you want on it.
Ulfersdotter draws the foul right outside of the box. Clock is running. And now we get a clock stoppage. And
yeah, fantastic here from Ulfa. Just rolling their body, using their body fantastically to draw in that foul.
Yeah, that's if you're trying to learn how to shield the ball, that's a great example of it. Getting your body in the way first, forcing the contact from the defender. And now Kugler will stand over it. And what do you think, Colton, from this distance, a shot or floated in?
You know, I was surprised to see Ulfa step away from the ball after a goal there at Wright State, what she's proven to us she can do from this sort of distance. I expect maybe a chip.
Chipped in towards that back post. That one drops down. Still not cleared away. Curled ball in towards Orcus, and again, safe hands.
Yeah, just too easy. And Orcus, to give her credit, reads it well. She gets herself up, she gets her knee up, and her hands nice and high.
One up in the air here as we reach 1 minute to go in this game. Can Ole Miss hold on and get the full 3 points, the win from this game? So Connor tried to find that ball over the top to Montgomery. Now Kentucky clears it away. And not a lot of time now, especially with a throw in your defending half. Poser headed away by Anna Young. Ball in midfield. Ole Miss picks it up. Montgomery tracking back. That might be just enough to see out the rest of this one.
10, 9, 8,
ball over to the far side.
5,
Young looking for the ball, but it's not coming anytime soon, and that will do it here in Lexington. Ole Miss picking up the win.